On this day in 1998, a Lubo Moravcik-inspired Celtic beat Rangers 5-1. Celtic struggled badly in the opening months of season 1998-99 after the sudden departure of Wim Jansen in May, the late appointment of Joe Venglos in July, and injuries and loss of form suffered by players who had played in the World Cup in France that summer. There were more players from Celtic there than from any other club. Rangers had reacted to Celtic stopping their 10-in-a-row bid the previous season by giving new coach Dick Advocaat almost £36 million to assemble a new team, more money than most English Premier League teams spent that season. Celtic were 10 points behind after 14 matches and very much second favourites as the tenner for every fiver opposition arrived at Celtic Park on the 21st of November 1998, especially after their 2-1 defeat at McDiarmid Park the week before. Celtic had on loan Tony Warner from Liverpool in goal and handed a debut to new signing Johan Mjällby. But the big talking point before the match was Venglos' decision to play 33-year-old Lubo Moravcik up front ahead of youngster Mark Burchill, which, with the benefit of hindsight, wasn't really a decision at all. Moravcik, like Venglos himself, had been widely derided by the Scottish football media on his arrival, even after an impressive debut in a 6-1 win over Dundee 2 weeks before. Derek Johnston was prompted to say on Radio Clyde before kick-off, "Joseph Venglos will live to regret his decision to play this unknown Slovakian ahead of Mark Burchill in such a vital Old Firm game." Celtic lined up Warner, Boyd, Mahy, Stubbs, Larsson, O'Donnell, Donnelly, Lambert, Moravcik, Rissith, Mjällby. Subs, Makindicki, Bratback, Hanna, Annoni, Burchill. The first 45 minutes were a pleasant surprise for Celtic fans who had approached the match with some trepidation. But even then, it gave little clue as to what was to follow, despite their dominant performance. Lubo scored his first goal for the club after just 11 minutes, bulleting a left-footed shot past Antti Niemi from the edge of the box after Henrik Larsson had dummied Simon Donnelly's low cross. Rangers were reduced to 10 men 10 minutes later when Scott Wilson came crashing into Lubo from behind about 10 yards inside Celtic's half. There was no further scoring before the interval, despite close efforts from Larsson and Paul Lambert. The defining period of the match was condensed into an 8-minute spell from the 49th minute that saw 4 goals scored, 3 for Celtic and 1 for a bewildered Rangers. Moravcik put Celtic 2 ahead on 49 minutes with a powerful header from a Tom Boyd cross, and 2 minutes later Larsson sent the fans into dreamland, streaking past Colin Hendry onto a through ball from Donnelly. Braveheart tried to push Henrik in the back as he raced into the box, but couldn't stop him dinking the ball deftly over the diving Niemi. Giovanni van Bronckhorst fired a curling free kick in off the post 2 minutes after that, but on 57 minutes, Larsson restored Celtic's 3-goal lead, heading in a cross from the left by Phil O'Donnell. By now, optimistic fans were chanting for 7, but the goal scoring was temporarily over and Lubo Moravcik was given a huge ovation when he was replaced by Mark Burchill with 8 minutes remaining. Graham Spears wrote in Scotland on Sunday the following morning, "Celtic's movements were knitted together by this little player and the cerebral Larsson. Moravcik opened the scoring with a velvety punch from his left boot, but as the match wore on and he intermittently hogged the left touchline and then the midfield, there wasn't a Rangers player capable of shackling his mind or feet. In one delicious pirouette, he made a knot of Sergio Parini, dancing with the ball between his ankles and feinting this way and that. For all his hours of football played with the old Czechoslovakia, this will surely remain one of Moravcik's special moments." An old score was settled in the final minute when Larsson carved open the Rangers' defence to send Mark Burchill in on goal, and he drove the ball low just inside the far post to seal an incredible 5-1 victory. Despite the emphatic nature of the win, it still left Celtic 7 points behind, but Lubo had served notice he was no mere Slovakian Gary McAllister, and Dr. Joe had given a glimpse of the kind of football Celtic could play under his tutelage. So unexpected was the result, highlights were shown on Match of the Day to the whole of the UK that evening. It really was the sweetest thing.